Hi friends, I'm Danielle. I am a homeschooling mother of 7. Welcome to my channel. This is Hogan Life and I've been meaning to talk to you about this subject, how to make liposomal C. At the end of this video, I would love for you to have the confidence to make liposomal C in your own kitchen and to have the know-how to do it. So it does have a kind of a sour taste. Now, liposomal is just a type of delivery system, so there's nothing scary about it, and it is fun and awesome that you can do liposomal C in your own kitchen. One of the reasons I love doing this is, one, it ends up being a lot cheaper. If you look on Amazon or other supplement stores and facilities, you are going to find that because of the nature of a liposomal, it is a lot more expensive, especially to get a good product. And two, you know the shelf life. You don't have to worry about whether or not it's fresh, and you don't have to worry about any preservatives. And I'm going to tell you everything you really need to know to get started, and then if you want to further research it, there's so much information out there on the great wide web. So very simply put, liposomes act as a kind of encapsulating any substance that you want to get from one location to the next, and it creates kind of a protective barrier over the vitamin or the nutrient that you want to get. And in this case, you want to get the vitamin C through your stomach and into your gut, where you get the maximum absorption. Now, if any of you are fond of vitamin C, which I am, you know that everyone has a different sensitivity to vitamin C because it goes into your stomach. And if you are like my husband, you could take 1,000 milligrams and you might get the big D. And I don't mean Dallas or divorce. I think there's a song like that. The big D. Most unpleasant. Now, I have a high tolerance, so I can probably take 15,000 milligrams in a day of vitamin C and not be affected in that way, whereas my husband, not so much. So if you are having instances where you want to actively fight something that's going around by giving your body an extra boost of vitamin C, this is a great method to get large quantities into your system and into your kid's system. As far as taste, I don't think that liposomal C is very unpleasant, especially regarding some of the other things that I have on hand for when my kids are not feeling their best. This is pretty innocuous. Yeah?
It's actually good. Mom, that's good.
Only 2 ingredients are required to make it, and those 2 ingredients are vitamin C crystals and lecithin powder. I use sunflower lecithin, and this recipe I use is a product of a lot of tweaking. I started making this because my dad was actively making it, and started making it myself because I have 7 kids and we go through it. So I start my process with heating my water over the stove just a little bit. I want to get it to about 100 degrees in order to faster dissolve the vitamin C crystals. So let's get to it. So I'm dissolving my vitamin C crystals by stirring, and I'm going to start with about 1.5 cups of water, and then I'm going to bring it up to 3 cups of water. I want to be sure when I put this into the blender with the lecithin, it is not hot. One of the main things to consider when you're making liposomal is you do not want to overheat any of the components. After the vitamin C is thoroughly dissolved, I'm going to pour the water with the vitamin C dissolved in it into my blender. I have a Vitamix, and I do like that I can run the Vitamix for the 13 minutes that I'm going to run it for this recipe, and it doesn't heat up too much. I'm adding now about 9 tablespoons of lecithin. Now that I've been doing it for over a decade, I think the sunflower for me is a more mild tasting overall liposomal. So after adding my 9 tablespoons of lecithin powder, which ends up being a little over 1/2 cup, I'm going to turn this on between 4 and 5 on my Vitamix and just blend it and allow it to emulsify without getting hot. With everything, I set timers because that saves me in the long run. Otherwise, I'll get busy folding laundry or doing something else and totally forget the first project I was working on. Lecithin is going to be your emulsifier. This is going to be what encapsulates the vitamin C crystals. The liposomes act as these protective capsules, so they encapsulate drugs, nutrients, or other substances, in this case, vitamin C. Now let me talk about the container I'm going to use to put into my jewelry cleaner machine. Now this is just the Ultrasonic. This is what works. It is the easiest method to bind your product together because you can do it so easily at home with this easy to obtain instrument. Now I'm going to link these things in the description box so that you can easily find them, but it's not exclusive to the machine that I use. It's just more of a larger machine, so I can fit the liposomal in there, and then its motor will be able to run for 45 or 60 minutes. Now, I originally was using a glass beaker, and I found that the glass beakers, although they do well, tend to get a little compromised over time. My dad did have a breakage, and I decided to start using plastic bags. So I'm doubling the plastic bags now. Obviously, the more you can get away from plastic, the better. But in this case, to avoid contamination, I am putting my Liposomal C into one plastic bag, and then I'm double bagging it and sticking it directly into the machine. Now right now I have my machine on my counter, but this is not an overly pleasant sound to listen to for 45 minutes. So I do advise you putting it somewhere where you don't have to listen to it for that length of time. However, out of sight, out of mind, it is the mom curse. So set a timer, because this is the big deal. You cannot let your Liposomal C heat up past a certain degree. I do not like to go beyond 30 degrees Celsius. I like to try to keep it about 28 degrees Celsius. So that's why I have this giant cup of ice. So for 45 minutes, I'm just looking and monitoring, and every 5 or 10 minutes, I'm putting a couple of ice cubes in once it starts heating up. This might not be the best overall way to create liposomal in your kitchen. This has just been a time-tested way to do it for me. And I've been doing this for a decade, and I get a very consistent product. And now I can taste it and I can tell, okay, the encapsulation is really good. Normally, if you just have vitamin C water, especially if it's 3 tablespoons of vitamin C in, let's say, liquid of this amount, it's going to be very difficult to drink because it's going to be so very sour. But here, I can drink probably a half cup of this easily, and it's not overly sour. So I know that the encapsulation process went really good. It's probably about 80 to 85% encapsulated. So you're always going to get a bit of the vitamin C that did not encapsulate, and that's no big deal. Still, you were able to consume a large quantity of vitamin C for whatever is ailing you. So let me just talk about what I do with the liposomal. I like to use it within a week, because over time, even though you do keep this in the fridge, okay, mark that, you keep your liposomal in the fridge, you're gonna get about a week, maybe 9 days, but over time it's gonna lose that encapsulation. So then you're just gonna have straight vitamin C, and it will not be the same. And not because it's bad, but because vitamin C taken at high quantities will upset your stomach. In 1 teaspoon of this ascorbic acid, you get 4.4 thousand milligrams of vitamin C. So what do we have? 3 teaspoons to a tablespoon. So in every tablespoon, you get 4.4 times 40,000 milligrams of vitamin C in 1 jar. So that just gives you an awareness, so you kind of know how much you want to take. And when I'm treating my kids for something, especially if it's a bad cough, or we have had more difficult things we've had to deal with. Once one of my children had a bout with pneumonia, and he was not even 3 yet at the time, and I gave him a dose of liposomal every couple of hours, a tablespoon. And so kids can take large quantities. So normally whatever you are able to take as far as vitamin C in a given day, you will be able to increase this probably double or maybe triple. And I could consume this in 3 days if I'm actively fighting a bad cough or something that really responds well to vitamin C. You can't OD on it. Some people hate it, some people like it, and my children, they'll tolerate it. For kids, I think that apple juice is a great way to hide all the taste of it. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you try this at home. I know there's a little bit of a startup cost with getting your ingredients and getting your machine, but I tell you, it's worth it. And I've been using the same machine for over a decade. So please stick around, subscribe, and watch this next video on effective home remedies that no mom should be without. I'll see you next time.